when are we going to review that movie? It's Predestined.
I could confidently say that we were predestined to watch this.
I would say that's definitely your fault.
No, because we both picked the exact same type of movie.
If you're here from the primer episode, then you know that this is Jarvis's pick. If you're here from this episode and haven't watched the primer episode, watch that one too. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and you might be able to glean some of the similarities between the two, but
you'll already know some of the things we're going to say about this movie because we both picked a time travel movie that are, in our opinions, polar opposites.
Yes.
And we both actually agree on that.
Yes.
Which is rare.
It happens occasionally.
Podcast, which is nice sometimes.
Yeah.
I like having differentiating opinions, but
we were both primed and predestined to pick these movies at the same time.
Predestined. Very good.
I hope you're primed for another episode of Full Time Movie Fans. I am Jarvis. This is Michael.
Wow, an actual segue this time.
An actual segue.
That was good. He's getting good at this, guys.
Dude,
we got to watch out.
And when we start getting some money to like invest in graphics, I'm just going to put a little me on a segue across the stream. Like on a little actual.
Yeah. Just take a picture if you want to segue.
Exactly. Yeah. So and then we're gonna just roll that across the screen when I do my actual segues. So yes, this is another episode. We're here for movies again. We just wanna chat and hang out with you guys
Casually. We are not an authority on movies and how good or bad they are.
Yeah, we're not
contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, a lot of people have been telling us how professional and like how serious we are as movie reviewers, and so we just want to make
a blog or anything that says
exactly.
Our 28 reasons why these movies are bad. No,
this is not.
We talk about
this is not that type of show. And I did see a comment on one of our videos saying like, "Hey, you should check out this to learn how to review movies." Maybe I'll just not do that.
Maybe you, viewer, should stop taking reviews so seriously and form your own opinions. How about that?
Yeah, we just want.
How about that?
We just want to have fun and hang out and
have opinions
and have like just a chill vibe. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. We're not here to break down every scene and like. There was actually somebody, you know who you are if you see this. You broke down like our whole video into like by timestamp and like you said this, I was like, okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Like
holding us accountable for things that we say and then change our opinions on 5 seconds later.
Yeah, I know. I was excited to see that you cared that much. But also like we're just chill. Like we don't want to read from scripts.
It is an unscripted podcast.
Very
by design. We do. Here's the entire breakdown before we get into Predestination, which we are destined previously to review.
Yeah.
We watch a movie. Actually, I'll step back even further. We discuss what movies we should watch.
Yeah. Our elbows
then
are
we
touching,
watch.
I kinda like it.
Then we watch those movies, and then we show up having briefly talked about it like a little bit beforehand.
Yeah.
Then we talk about the movies in a very specific format. We talk about our first impressions, we talk about the plot, and then we talk about some behind the scenes stuff, maybe some things we change.
And that's all the structure you're going to get.
And that's all you get.
Yeah.
By design, that's all you get. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you don't like that, there's like a bajillion other podcasts that probably do what you want. Yeah. We're just not that one.
We hope you'll hang out with us.
So you can go watch those about your serious reviews, and then you can come back to this one and talk and listen to me talk about why I think Predestination with Ethan Hawke was a little too hand-fisted.
Did you say ham-fisted?
Hand-fisted.
Oh, maybe I'm just
hand-fisted. Ham-fisted?
Yeah.
Do you want me to say ham-fisted?
Is that actually a saying, ham-fisted?
Depends on who you are.
Ham hands? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's Wreck-It Ralph. Doesn't he call himself Old Ham Hands?
Yeah, he does.
See?
Ham-fisted is what he is.
Yeah.
Hand-fisted is what this movie is. So you went first last time talking about your first impressions. But
Did I introduce us already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
I said it was a good segue.
I should go back in time and remember.
That's why, because it was a good segue and you don't remember that.
Because I don't do good segues very often.
Yeah. So I'll do my impressions, and then you can do your impressions, just because it makes more sense this way around.
Yeah, it's the thing.
So Jarvis said, "Hey, watch Predestination. Don't look anything up. Don't see anything." Because he didn't want me to ruin the twists and the spoilers.
The surprises, which we're going to be.
Which is fine. I think that was a really, really solid way of doing it. I did, and as I usually do, I watched this movie while playing like a little game. Not an intensive game like Elden Ring, but like Hearthstone in the background while I was playing the movie.
Not sponsored, by the way.
No. Fun game. Don't support Activision Blizzard. Wait till the merger completes. That's besides the point.
That's a really out of left field.
Yeah. If you know, you know. If you don't, just wait. I promise it's worth waiting. So I watched this movie sitting right there on my little screen. And quite literally, the first 2 scenes of the movie is somebody failing to stop a bomb being defused. A random, not-named, not shown person. And then they immediately go into a surgery to get facial reconstruction surgery.
Whatever it was explodes in their face, and their body catches on fire.
Yeah.
And then there is a person whose face we do see shows up.
Very slightly, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just kind of watching them this whole time.
Mm.
And then as that person is struggling to live.
Yeah, they kick over the little machine thing that we learn later is the time travel device.
Yeah, it looks like a violin case or something.
Yeah.
But it's the time travel device.
Yeah.
Kicks it over there to them. They do a time thing and disappear.
Yeah.
And then they wake up getting surgery.
Yeah, they're getting surgery. A doctor quite literally says, "You'll heal just fine, but you won't look the same or sound the same." And immediately I went, okay, so this person was whoever was trying to be stopped. Because it's a time travel movie already, and it's very, very like, you look different and sound different, and you won't recognize yourself. So, like, obviously that was it. Spoilers, by the way.
The doctor said it like 3 or 4 times in a row.
I think it was the first lines out of somebody's mouth was that. I think.
And if you watch your videos with subtitles, they were bold. And
it was actually, and also did not help that if you do watch the movie with subtitles, the main character doesn't have a name. He's the barkeep, and the other person who is a main character in this movie is the unmarried mother. Both don't have names. We'll get into that when we get into the plot. But like, if Primer was very like, you'll know this, you'll get this. This one was very, hey guys, in case you didn't catch it from the first words being spoken from this movie, here's what's going on.
It's that friend of yours that always tells that jokes a lot.
Yeah,
but they always wink at you like, hey, like, did you hear the thing? Did you hear the thing that I did?
Yeah,
and you know what? I can say that I agree with your take on it after seeing it multiple times. But what I did want to say was, as someone who's not quite as smart or has seen as many movies as you, at the time that I saw this, which was like maybe 7 years ago, when I first saw it, I had not been as acquainted with this type of thing.
You talking about the bootstrap paradox?
Yeah, okay. So the actual term for it, I was not as familiar, so I didn't catch it. I got to enjoy it as a ignorant person who was surprised by everything. So, anyways,
ham-fisted. This is one of like the last movie, Primer. You couldn't watch while doing something else.
No,
this one you could, because every like 5 minutes it reminds you and like gives you more insight as to what is happening and what's going on.
And to get our 2 takes, me as someone who's just, I'm a full-time movie fan for sure, but slightly, above average as far as casual movie going.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that if you are a casual moviegoer and you don't know the fancy words that he was just spitting out, then you're going to like this movie and probably be surprised by it. If you are not and you've seen a lot of movies and you know what he just said, then you're going to see it coming from a mile away. But I would say, I don't know, watch it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And see for yourself. But yeah, where Primer was a little bit too smart and kind of hurt your brain. Yeah, the steam comes out yours. This one's a little bit easier on the old,
which I don't think is a problem.
Right.
I just think that there's better ways around it to make it better.
Yeah.
This one also has the same problem with that I had with Primer, which like go watch. The main character doesn't get any actual character growth or development. But initial thoughts,
The character does change though, quite literally.
He physically changes.
Physically, literally,
multiple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should watch it. It's neat. It's an interesting take on a bootstrap paradox.
That's kinda neat.
Yeah. It does do a weird thing where it's like, this is a new thing. This is a predestination paradox. It's like, it's not. It's a bootstrap paradox. The definition of a bootstrap paradox, I don't know if I explained it on the phone.
No, but the only thing I know about bootstraps is that you're supposed to pick yourself up by them.
I don't know if that's the phrase that made bootstrap paradox the thing. I don't know where the phrase comes from.
Probably from someone's great
probably. Probably. But a bootstrap paradox is a paradox where you don't necessarily know where the beginning of the timeline happens.
Yeah.
It's like at some point the characters or the person placed in the paradox just exists, and they don't know how it ended up being in place because there's no way for them to have been there without already having been there.
Right, yes.
So that's what a bootstrap paradox is. That's what a predestination paradox is too, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's part of the movie thinks it's clever and like really, really cool, and it's like it thinks it's Primer, basically. And it's not. And there's nothing wrong with not being Primer. It's just when you think that you're Primer and you're sitting there going, hey guys, just so you don't think that there's a plot hole later, just know that this person's face is entirely different and their voice is entirely different. They don't recognize themselves, but they'll also recognize themselves later because they'll know what they looked like previously, but don't know what they look like now, so they don't know that they're in the thing yet.
Yeah, I think for me, as someone who didn't know about bootstraps and stuff like that, for me, I think what kind of helped was real quick, spoilers. But as someone who didn't know all that stuff, it was because I think they do show his face as he's watching himself. As he's watching the other person get blown up and caught on fire.
Yeah.
And then they do show his face.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, they do show his face, which is...
So after the
which
surgery's
is Ethan
done.
Hawke's face, because Ethan Hawke
So
is
after the surgery's done, he
character.
sees healed, he's like, oh, that was me, I get it.
Yeah, so then you see it, and you're like, oh, this is Ethan Hawke.
Which, I mean, if my face looked like Ethan Hawke's, I'd probably be a happier man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably jump on TikToks and fakes or whatever as him. But that being said, I think that's what, for me, I was like, oh, it's just this one guy. He's this, he's the main character.
Like any other story, each character is their own person. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so then something weird's going on where he was watching himself get blown up.
Yeah.
Which he was.
Yeah.
But there's more stuff. And so that's why I was duped.
I didn't even catch that.
I was duped.
Very ham-fisted.
Ham-fisted, yeah.
Back to the food analogies. Very good. Your favorites.
Always.
So that was, what were your first impressions besides
my first impressions were I really liked it. Like I watched it with a buddy of mine back when I used to live in a bachelor pad, like 3 or 4 other dudes. So rent was cheap. And so expensive these days.
True.
But
very true.
But yeah, it was him and I, and it was very. I think it's one of those things where it depends on who you watch movies with. Sometimes you kind of feed off their energy a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I think, but I think we were both very surprised, and we're both like, "Oh, this is crazy twists and like, man, the loop-de-loops that we were taking on, and like trying to figure out, like, it was for me, it was kind of like the first time I saw Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. I know you've seen that. Oh my! That's another time travel movie.
Oh God! Time travel month. We could do a whole month of time travel movies.
Time travel just for y'all. If you want it, put in the comments. Yeah. But give us a little break. We'll do it eventually, maybe.
I'm a bit timed out.
From Out of Time, the movie.
Ugh.
Justin Timberlake.
Why don't we just do Jumper? You know Jumper?
Yeah.
I loved that movie as a young boy.
But we've grown up since then because time has passed on.
That was a bad movie.
Time has passed, and so speaking of time, for my first impressions way back when, 7 or 8 years ago, however,
2014 was when it came out.
So
10 years.
So it was probably a few years after that though. I watched it, maybe 16 or 17.
Okay. I graduated high school.
I liked it. I thought it was the twists were new and fresh to me, and I was surprised by them, and so it felt like a very good movie. I was like, wow, this movie might be the greatest movie in the history of movies at that time.
Yeah.
And this was way before Everything Everywhere All at Once. So.
Right. Which is the actual Predestination.
Yeah. So, and that doesn't deal with time travel necessarily. So, you could argue.
Debatable.
You could argue it. Yeah. But first impressions, dude, I liked it a lot. I still do. Like it because I like rewatching it and seeing all the little winks at the camera that I didn't pick up on before.
I don't know if there were little winks more as they were. Things are happening, and this is the end of the movie. How do we get there? Because this is the end of the movie. And you, other character, who is also myself, how are you going to get there? A little less than a wink.
Yeah, well, for me, it was a wink at the time. But now, I can obviously, as I've seen more movies and as time has passed, I've grown. And have
you been caught victim as one of those, as the classic guy trope of somebody giving you a hint and you just like completely missing it?
So here's what it is for me. Like, if the story is interesting enough, I'm not really using any brain power to try to figure.
Oh, you're just along for the ride.
Yes.
Okay.
If the story's interesting enough,
that's fine.
And for me,
I think that's good.
If I find myself overthinking a movie or trying to make sense of something, not all the time, but sometimes that's an indicator for me and my brain and as a person that maybe the movie is not that great. If I'm having to like spend a lot of time trying to rectify something, but like if the story's good enough and I'm just engrossed in the story and like waiting to see the next minute to pass, and like for me, I like that, and I felt like this was that type of movie. Could I, if I was really putting more brain power to it, figure it out? Maybe, but it was one of those things that I was just engrossed in what was happening in the moment that I wasn't taken out of the story enough to be like, oh, well, this is what. And I know some people like yourself and other people that I know have seen a lot more movies, know a lot more of these types of tropes and things like that. Their brain just automatically connects them to, oh, this is the last time I saw something. Which my brain does that now a lot more. That I've seen more movies since then. But yeah, I in that moment, I was missing the hints. I was missing them because I was just like I said, I was just like living in the moment.
How's this for an analogy? You got two kinds of movies.
Okay.
There's more than two, but for the sake of argument, you got two kinds of movies.
Okay.
Ready? You got roller coasters.
Okay.
And you have escape rooms.
Okay.
One of them you're a passenger in. It's going to happen regardless, right?
Okay.
The other one, you're an active participant in.
Yeah.
You got to think about.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that your brain's tuned to being along for the ride.
Yes.
While mine's more tuned for being a part of it.
Yes. Well, yes.
Try to figure it out.
Absolutely. Because you actually like want to create movies and you have, you are a director and, so, tips his hat. And so, I think that's just a difference in someone who just enjoys movies and wants to watch them versus maybe someone who wants to create them. I don't really want to create movies. I do enjoy stories. I enjoy telling stories. In fact, if you haven't already, brought this up several times, we recently, which maybe 2-3 weeks ago, by the time you're watching this, did our review of The Last Jedi. I don't know if you saw my comment, but I literally rewrote The Rise of Skywalker. for somebody because I was like, I'm gonna prove to you that JJ was lazy and didn't try because I'm gonna rewrite it here in the comment section. I don't know if you saw that comment, but
the dead speak. That's all. That's all you ever need to say.
So yes, that's honestly,
yeah. Well, I don't think
analogy.
it's necessarily like a filmmaker versus a casual moviegoer. I think it's just the kind of movies that you prefer to go towards.
Yeah.
You have escapism movies, and I have big thinkers going to change my life movies.
Yeah, yeah.
And those are
movies
what we
are
lean towards. You would much rather watch a couple of movies to not think about your everyday life, and I would rather watch a couple of movies that make me go, man, what am I doing with it?
Dude, yes. See,
is that it?
Explains, yes, that perfectly explains our way different reactions to game night. Because I just wanted to just sit and just turn my brain off and laugh at the funny things, and
I got nothing out of it.
Yeah, and you were just like, "This is dumb,"
and it was,
but funny.
Debatable.
Okay, that's the difference. That's the difference. You very, very perfectly explained. So continue.
Hey, you.
How'd you like that episode? Did you like it?
You like movies? You like this one?
Do you?
You should subscribe to this channel right now.
Also, as well.
Yeah, you got friends? Yeah, you do.
Do you? Hopefully.
Show it to them. Show this to them.
Prove it to us you got friends.
There's other videos to watch too. Why don't you watch those if you're so cool?
Yeah, prove you're not a bot. Leave a comment.
Nerd.